puts you right in the fucking music, you know?
It sure does.
Yep. So we're back. It's Friday night, and Sheldon decided to come back over again, which was super cool of him. No, I'm kidding. It's not like that.
What an honor.
Yeah. What an honor. Oh, my God. Come sit back here in my trap house.
Hey, it's coming together quite nice, actually.
Hopefully, I think Sunday we're going to do some final touches and possibly even painting this bitch.
Okay.
Yeah.
What color are you thinking?
I think, honestly, it's kind of weird and it's kind of dark, but I like that vibe. I think the walls are going to be a darker gray.
I like gray. It's one of my favorite colors.
And I think this wall is going to be black.
Okay.
And I think the vibe I'm feeling is actually like black vinyl. And as of last night, I have a printing available to me. So I was thinking about doing black vinyl with some white stickers, maybe white logos on it.
Okay.
So I don't know. I have some ideas.
That'd be cool.
Amongst the millions of things that we need to talk about, more ideas to bounce off you.
Okay.
Still trying to get that Jack Daniel's sponsor. I'm gonna mention every episode until I get something back. It's not a good sponsor to have, but I'll take it.
Yeah, that might be a bit of a reach.
We have a mental health podcast, and I'm trying to get a Jack Daniel's sponsor. I feel like it's not
fitting for some.
Yeah, okay, as long as you're open to it.
Not recommended for all.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah. Fitting for some, not recommended for all.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, there's quite a few ideas floating around in here.
Yeah, I think that'd be nice. Maybe I don't know. I love the color gray. I think black is a horrendous color if you're painting like the whole bedroom black.
Yeah, it's a bit much
because it's pretty dark, depressing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It makes everything feel smaller. However, I do think gray is a very fitting color.
It might change, but I just want it to be uniform.
I think it'll look good.
And okay looking.
Yeah.
So, and with the expansion, we'll make it look a little bit better.
That's true.
So, anyway, how's your week been?
My week has been good. It's been good. It's been a little busy, but I'm always pretty busy. Mm-hmm. I got a lot of projects that I'm working on, a lot of people, a lot of different things, as well as my usual full-time job. But it's good. All of its growth, every new project, every new opportunity is just a growth opportunity. Mm-hmm. So I don't mind being busy. Days like today, I was a bit overwhelmed, but I sort of put myself in that situation. It was a self-created, overwhelming experience because I chose to do things at not the appropriate time. So that was my fault, something that I could have changed. But it is what it is. I got a little bit of work done, so I'm happy with it.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah, you do push yourself to accomplish the most.
Yeah. Well, I try, and sometimes it's actually it's an issue because I like to say yes to things. It's one of the things that I'm working on in therapy and just in life in general, but I don't like saying no to opportunities because I feel like once you say no, then that opportunity is gone. It's lost forever. And a similar thing to if you say yes, but I will do it when I can or when I have time,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's, I'll do it in a week or 2 weeks or something. I feel in my mind, it seems like there's always another person that's right there ready to do it now or ready to do it sooner, which really isn't the case because most of the time when people are reaching out to you for a project or to work on a certain thing, they're reaching out to you for a reason, which means that they're a fan of your work or they like what you do or they trust you to do this thing. And so no matter how long it takes, you're going to get it done and it's going to be exactly what they expect it to be because they reached out to you to get it done. So, but I'm still sort of new. I would say I have a fair bit of experience with having my own business, doing my own thing, working with clients and doing projects on my own. But I'm still in that learning stage in my mind. I guess not the learning stage, but I'm still working on some of the tweaks with how this whole having your own business thing works, and being confident that it's okay to have 10 clients in your book and 10 projects you need to work on, and it's okay to give them different timelines of reasonable timelines of when this stuff is going to be achieved instead of like me. I every time I get a new project, I try to have it done as soon as possible, and uh, often that's just not plausible.
That's one of the fun parts I learned about. I actually had my own automotive shop for, fuck, I think it only lasted like 7 months, but I did learn quite a bit about it. When you're doing stuff that you're good at, and when you're doing stuff that you're passionate about, and you're in such high demand, as such, um, I did the same. I did the same thing that you're kind of explaining now. Is I just wanted to do as much as I could, as fast as people would throw it at me,
Yeah.
and I learned the hard way that that is not the way to go about it.
Right.
And it sucks because, like, in your mind, you're like, the passion is real, the fire is there, and you do want to do all these things, and you do want to make it all happen. But the reality of it is, um, if you're in such high demand, then it needs to come with time,
Yeah.
and it's super. I find it super hard to to downplay that fire, so to speak. I do because I want to do it all, just like you want to do it all. But then you find yourself what with too many projects on your plate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and having a baby was kind of a game changer. You know what
Way
I
to
mean?
throw
Like
that in the mix.
it's it's true that having a baby does take up a lot more of your time
Mhm.
and your focus on things. And I've known people who, instead of spending that valuable time with their children and their families, they choose to spend their time other ways, such as playing video games or working on such and such, or just going to work, spending days, hours, 16-hour days in the fucking office instead of spending time with their family. And then it always ends up in well, I guess not always, but a lot of the time it ends up in divorce and bad relationships with your kids and your wife and your family and all that kind of stuff. So, though I could make the time, spending time with my family is obviously most important. And uh, yeah, I think one of my downfalls is that I take all these projects as on a more individual basis. So when I get a new project or I get a new client, I look at their project and I say, well, this will only take me maybe 6 hours to do.
Right. This is an easy one.
Yeah, so I can just do it this weekend. So instead of saying I'll have this to you in a couple weeks, because, things might happen, things might come up. I have several other people that I need to work on first. I just go, well, I'll have this done this weekend. Sure. And then I find myself where now I have 4 6-hour projects that I have to do in one weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the overwhelming comes into play.
I will say one thing. Like, I can kind of relate. Um, and it may or may not be something that you realize. But when you tell somebody and you exceed their expectation as far as like a timeline goes, or
So much better.
oh, dude, the fucking reaction and the satisfaction that you get from it is through the roof.
Yeah.
So I can completely relate with why you would want, as at face value, to be like, oh yeah, I can fucking have this done tomorrow
Right.
or whatever the case is. Yeah, I totally understand why, and that effect is huge.
Well, and then I guess the other part of that I fear is if I say, yeah, I'll have that done in a month. Well, I know that this thing is only going to take me a few hours. So a month to have it done
Mm-hmm.
is unacceptable in my mind. But that's me going, well, this project is going to take me this amount of time, so a month is absurd.
Right.
But not taking into account that I have a list of clients that I need to get work done for. So it's not unrealistic, but for some reason in my mind I just keep going, if I tell this person that I'm going to get their thing done in a month, then they're going to be like, a month? Well, that's too long. I need it now. They're going to find somebody else
Right.
instead of me. So I try to make it as quick as possible,
Mm-hmm.
but then what actually oftentimes happens instead is that I end up being late with things, and then I'm very unprofessional and shitty about it. And I'm trying to work on that, but most of the time, the projects that I don't get done in the time that I'm supposed to get them done, in the time that I promised or that I worked out with this person, it's with close friends or people that I'm very close to, like in their communities or such. So it's
Right,
not
right.
the biggest deal, because how it starts is I need this done, and then I offer my services and say I could do that for you, no problem. And then there's really no timeline given between either of us. They're just like, cool, yeah, I'm glad you can do this for me. But there's not like a, I need this done in 3 days. I need this done in 2 weeks. So
Well, those circumstances typically, and 9 times out of 10, are going to end on a negative foot. Only simply because of the expectations. You know,
yeah,
that VIP pass that people think they have is
yeah,
typically not the case.
yeah. Luckily, I haven't run into any of that yet, where people are like, well, I'm your friend, so it should have taken me,
Yeah.
blah blah.
Hey man, I thought we were cool.
Yeah,
Fuck off. um, I I can kind of see a little bit where you're coming from, regardless of the industry or regardless of the work. It's super simple to take on something else and say, well, this is only going to take, 4 days, without exploiting how much work you actually have to do
right.
outside of their project. Um, it makes them happy, and then it's easier to deflect somewhat over the phone or through text or whatever the case may be, email. It's easier to just. But maybe that's not the case. Maybe you're not trying to deflect. Maybe you are trying to take on as much as you can and get as much done as you can, and I don't know. It's easier to just accept the task at hand
Yeah.
and then deal with it after the fact.
Well,
Super easy.
yeah, and another thing is that, the people that reach out to me for projects typically don't know any of this stuff. So they don't know that this thing will only take a couple hours to make. So if I say it'll take 2 weeks, as far as they know, it takes 2 weeks to make this thing.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, I hate being dishonest with people. And so a lot of the time I will overshare because I don't like being a scumbag. Right? I don't like feeling like a scumbag.
I was
Where
gonna
like,
say I feel I'm sorry to interrupt you.
no, you're
I
good.
just feel like in the crossroad that you're crossing right this second, there's a line to be drawn, and you're exploring it as you speak,
Yes.
and I feel like it's a very unfair line. This is a very big complication, and it and almost in any field is a very defining moment.
Yeah. Well, dude, I didn't even start charging people for the things I was doing for them
Mm-hmm.
until it started costing me money to make.
Right.
Because I was just like, what? Why would I charge you for this thing when one, I offered my services and I love doing this thing? Like, I don't want to. I don't want to charge you money because it feels scummy. You didn't come to me and ask me to make you this thing. You said you needed this done. I said I could make it, and so I'm gonna make it, and it's gonna be a good time, and it's gonna be good, and you're gonna love it, and that's awesome. But then I started having to pay for things,
Mm-hmm.
such as with like making websites for people and apps for people. There are initial charges that have to be taken care of first. And so it was at that point where I was like, okay, I really have to take this into consideration. And I'm trying to build a business, or, at the time I was trying to build a business. I guess right now it's pretty established. But for the longest time, that was a huge downfall for me, was that I was spending so much time doing this stuff, which didn't bother me. It wasn't bad time spent because I was enjoying spending my time doing this thing. But there has been a couple projects I worked on where I'm like, this is a lot more than I bargained for. And now I'm feeling like I'm spending too many hours on this thing than I would like to be spending on it. And I had that thought of, I feel like my time and my effort is worth more than either this small charge or no charge at all.
Right.
And so, but that also is sort of part of the learning curve of knowing or having an estimate, I guess, on how long things will take, a realistic expectation on the size of the project that you're doing, and then taking that into account and not, you know.
I am gonna have to I don't know. I want to disagree with that last statement because that last statement states and feels like you're putting some of that responsibility on yourself. And I don't think that's fair.
All of it. That's
Yeah.
not fair.
No, I don't think that's fair at all because I think if I were to come to you and I would ask you, can you build an extremely interactive website for this podcast, and just expect you to do it, and you say, yeah, sure, I can do it in a week. I can have it done in a week, and we can have links to all your different social media and everything like that. And then, a snag comes up or whatever the case may be, man. Your family, you have time, whatever the fucking case is. I think it's extremely unfair when people on the on my front say, oh, well, what the fuck, if there's money involved, if there's time involved or whatever,
Right.
and then people get defensive, like we're not all living in the same real world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we didn't talk about money. You just said it could be done in a week, and I said, okay, cool.
Yeah.
But we didn't talk about money. We didn't talk about anything. So I think it's super unrealistic, and it's not your fault at all that I'm being unrealistic. But the reality of it is that so many people choose to be this petty and and this unresponsive to real world problems.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, I would say that if I gave you a timeline on when I want this thing to be done, or I have in my mind, okay, this project's going to take me this amount of time, and the timeline that I give you, the expectation that I give you, I, as the professional, as the person creating this project, should stick to that. So if I say I'll have this done in a week without you asking, can you have this done in a week? Then it's my responsibility to stick with that timeline, which was part of the problem, is that I should have said, or in that scenario, I should say, I'll have this done in a couple months, just in case anything happens or comes up that that time is sort of allotted for. Even though I know it's only going to take me a week to do this thing, I want to give an extended timeline of 2 months, because what if something major comes up and I just completely don't have time? Then there, you're not setting a false expectation for the client, and you have plenty of time where you're not overwhelmed with things. You can work on this at a steady pace. Everyone's happy. If you get it done early, say 3 weeks or 2 weeks or whatever, then it's like, oh shit, you got this thing done early. But there is those cases where I've had people say that they, oh, it doesn't really matter when you get this thing done. Take your time. It's not that important. And then they come back to me in a couple weeks and they're like, dude, what the fuck? I need this thing done. And I'm like, well, these other people that needed their stuff done in 3 days come first, because you said you didn't care.
Yeah, you said it was leisure.
Like,
Yeah.
so, and then that's where it comes in. Well, this isn't worth this much money, the time, blah blah, and that's just something that you have to.
You dabbled in so many good points, and I'm conflicted by all of them because they all do happen. But I think maybe it's just my mindset, but I don't know, man. Like if I contract somebody to do a specific job, then I just don't expect it to go 110% as planned.
Yeah.
I just don't. I don't know. There's if especially I think the principle of that statement, now that I think about it and say it out loud, and I think it's important to acknowledge that if you contract somebody to do a job for you, you fucking did it because you don't know how to do that job.
Right.
And I think that's hugely important to recognize. So if you don't know how to do that job and you don't know what that job entails, regardless of what it is, then you obviously don't know what it fucking takes to do that job
Yeah.
at its core. So that could mean whatever the fuck it means.
Right.
There's endless possibilities left to right.
Yeah.
There's nothing else I can say about that.
Well, and I guess a big part of that professional relationship is to just be transparent with your clients.
Communication.
And say, hey, this is actually a lot more difficult than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. Because of such and such.
Is this okay with you? And then, they should be like, yeah, I understand, da da da. But sometimes they're like, why the fuck did I hire you if you don't know what you're doing? And most of the time, it's not that you don't know what you're doing. It's just that things come up. Whatever you're doing isn't working, or, and there's also, I want to say, there's a huge difference in when you're becoming established and you don't quite know these things yet. Like, I remember my very first project for somebody. It was a pretty big project, and in my mind, I was like, well, this shouldn't take me more than a couple weeks. But I was like, okay, let me set a timeline for a couple months, because I know from my experience that doing this sort of stuff unprofessionally, that this really shouldn't take me more than a couple weeks, because it's not really that advanced of a project. And surely enough, things ended up happening along the way the little snags in the road, and it wasn't on my side, it wasn't on the client's side. It was just these unforeseen things from a third party that created snags. And I was lucky that the person I was working with was, very kind about it and understanding and willing to help me. We worked with each other to get these issues fixed because it wasn't their fault, it wasn't my fault, it was something that was out of our control.
Mm-hmm.
So we had this mutual understanding that this will get done as soon as possible, and that was okay. And so for being my very first project, that was huge. And I got lucky in that way as well, because it really showed me that these things can happen. And as much as I don't want them to, or I think that I have control over the situation, or that I have a realistic timeline on things, sometimes stuff from neither. I mean, there are some cases where the person that you're trying to reach, your client, you're like, I have a question, and you message them every day and you call them and they just blow you off, and then you're like, what the fuck? No, you're the problem.
Yeah.
Like I
You did this to me.
it's taking a long time because you won't give me a fucking answer. But and then then of course there's, I haven't done it yet, but there are times where the person that you're working with just doesn't respond to you, and whatever, they're very unprofessional about things. But it my first project gave me a lot of those I guess those issues up front, those possibilities, those things to look out for, those. And so I've been trying to take that into consideration for every project that I've done after that, as in, to things happen, and I should give a little bit extra time. I guess it just depends on the project and who I'm working with, where I'm like a little touchy.
I have a, and we can end this topic on this note if you want. But I have a favorite example, or a favorite analogy, so to speak, when it comes to stuff like this. Um, let's say I'm not uh, a house guy at all. I can do general shit, but somebody asks you to do a remodel on a house that's from 1960, we'll say. Um, when you get into the internals of that house, you have no fucking idea what you're going to get yourself into.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And shit comes up as you're working on that house, and you have to call and inform the customer, hey, there is shit in here that is no longer active in today's electrician world. Same thing goes with cars.
Yeah.
When you're dealing with an older car, you have no idea what you're about to get yourself into.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
I don't think, some people would find that unfair or unprofessional, that you would get yourself into a situation where you didn't know what you were getting yourself into because you don't know what you're doing. Where
Yeah.
that's one of those things where we could disagree.
Right. Yeah.
And the same thing goes for your profession,
Yeah.
where it's just unfair for the person that hired you to assume that you got yourself into a situation where you didn't know what you were doing.
Yeah. And yeah, it's, I guess it's one thing if someone to reach out to you and say, can you tackle this project, and then you send them all the paperwork, and you ask them for all the details, the colors, the functionality, every little piece of what they're looking for, and you sign that off, and then that's the expectation, that's what they want, that's what they need, that's what you're going to make. And then instead, what they meant by all of this stuff was, I need actually this thing with this functionality, and something that is outside of your scope,
Right.
per se,
Right.
but that wasn't established initially, then that's on them. But if I actively agree to take on a project that I'm not comfortable with, that's not in my scope, then that's on me because I shouldn't be accepting those types of projects. You know.
I find it unfair. I find it unfair for a real world person to go into something they know nothing about and express their wants and their needs without being able to accept what may or may not be able to happen.
Yeah.
I don't think that's fair, and that doesn't happen often enough.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I don't think it's okay that just because you have a certain amount of money and you expect something to be able to happen in your time frame, that it should and it will.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
not realistically how a lot of shit works.
I'm one of those people where I have no issue just saying no to things. So if we already have something in agreement, and then I give you the finished product, and you're like, no, 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 this isn't what I wanted, even though it's exactly written down word for word what you asked me for. And if you're like, no, I need more. I need this. I'm gonna tell you to fucking eat dicks because I
Eat
fucking
dicks.
did exactly what you asked me to do, and now
Right.
you're just being unreasonable. Same with the people that are like, oh, can you just add this one more thing, this one more thing, and this one more thing? I started having to charge people for that kind of shit.
Well, it's gonna
Like,
take me like 2 more days,
sure, I'll
dickhead.
do it, but every fix I make is gonna be an extra couple $100.
Yeah.
Like, as long as you're okay with that, sure. But send as many as you want. I'll fucking do all of them. But just to give somebody, I haven't encountered that a lot. Only a couple times where people are like, "Oh no, this isn't it," because a lot of the time I got lucky in my field where I get mostly complete creative control over how something is going to look. They say, here's a very basic rough draft idea. I need you to use your skill set to make to make the vision a whole, to make this thing happen, to make it into something. And so I have that just in my wheelhouse, in my brain of, okay, you gave me this basic idea. Now I'm going to turn it into what you want. And so I end up making it, and then they are very happy with the outcome because I have that ability to take this very rough thing and turn it into a fully professional done project.
Which is something you've definitely proven here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Real quick, I'm sorry.
no, it's okay.
Can we take a pee break?
Sure. Yeah. Go
Just a
for it.
just a quick little dabble.
Yeah.
We're back, and I'm sorry. I had to
Yes.
pee. We needed beverages.
It's all good. We're
And
back. We're rolling.
yeah, my expectations are,
A little high, but that's okay.
what do they call this? Champagne diet on a beer budget.
Yeah.
I'm trying though.
They're not unrealistic.
They're not. It's
It's just
just costs a lot.
yeah, and I would say unnecessary for the time being. But
Oof, I might have to argue with you on that one.
no, because at the moment everything is
Unnecessary.
just for now.
This fucking guy.
You know, because it's working. Everything's working. It's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But as things change, we adapt, we grow, we compensate, we do things whatever needs to be done.
Sure.
So at the moment, I think everything's working great. I'm comfy.
You look comfy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty nice.
That corner spot looks comfortable as fuck.
It's not bad,
Yeah.
to be honest.
That was the idea, was to put the guest in the most comfortable spot. So, anyhow,
I feel like I'm in a throne, king spot.
there you go. That's what I'm shooting for.
It's kind of nice.
Yeah. It's a good spot.
Yeah.
I don't know where specifically where to pick off where we left off. Pick up where we left off. Excuse me. But
Do you regret or Would you like to have your own business again? Do you regret ending that?
Um, I don't regret anything about it. I think the initial experience was immature, but there has always been this real bright fire inside of me that wants to be able to just run a business and run things my way.
Yeah, I feel that.
Um, it's not necessarily for the control aspect. That's not really what I'm shooting for. I think if I had to speak for my core and for my subconscious, the things that I would be looking for would be more for the people and more for the employees than I would be looking out for me. Which, knowingly, I know that that model does not necessarily mean that there's going to be a lot of success in the real world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I know that what I'm trying to express here is not an easily conceived concept, but um, it's not for the money. It's not at all. But I would rather do something with a fire and a passion and be able to take care of the people that love doing it with me
Right.
than I would be making money off of it.
Yeah.
You know, I'd be
Yeah.
cool. I'd be cool with that. If
It might sound whack to some people, but I think that that's most important.
if I stayed in this house and we made a comfortable living doing this and the other ideas that I have in mind, I'd be cool with it.
That's the dream.
I'd be super happy with it, man. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I don't want more than I need. Just want to be comfortable.
Well, that I think that that's a very important, and I share a similar mindset to that of that I don't ever have this desire to be super wealthy and successful. I'm more about I want to do something that I love to do all of the time. And people say all the time, well, if you have something that you love to do and then you could also make money from doing it, that's the perfect balance. That
Right, right.
that
That's the American dream.
that's the dream right
Right.
there. And so I agree that doing something that you love and making a profit from it, or making a livable income from it,
Mm-hmm.
is a pretty ideal situation. I don't ever strive to be one of those fucking corporate heads where you're sitting back and you're making millions of dollars, but you're just miserable the whole fucking time.
Right.
And I've also worked at a bunch of places. I've had probably only two jobs out of the fucking 17 jobs I've had the that everyone treated everybody kindly, that you got that good job, or I appreciate this, or that you're doing really good, or and that positive feedback to let you know that you're important. You're not just a number. You're not just a person working in this place. You have a job. Your job is to make the company money, but that what you're doing is really genuinely appreciated. And I think that that's super important, because the reason that I have had so many jobs in the past is because people aren't like that. And it makes me not want to be there. It makes me just I hate being just another person. I like to make an impact. I like to do something that helps out. I like to make suggestions. I like to do every job to the best of my ability. And it's not required for people to say you're doing an excellent job at the thing that you're doing, because I don't need constant reassurance that I'm an A plus student or whatever. But every once in a while it's nice for people to just treat you with the same respect that they expect from you. And so I always told myself I don't really have the desire at this point in my life, but I told myself that if I were ever in that position to where I was the owner, I was the top manager, I had all these people under me, that's how the work environment would be, where everyone was respectful to everybody. Everyone was just, it was a positive atmosphere. Everybody was happy. Everybody was comfortable. That it would just be good, and that the things that they said, the suggestions they made, the ideas they had are valuable and important, and I would let them know that, and I would really take those into consideration instead of just putting it in a file. And
It's super interesting to me that you bring that kind of a topic up. Um, I find it hugely interesting that you and I share a similar level of passion with this, because you and I are from two completely different locks of this world.
yeah.
You know, um, you do something that is completely out of the realm of anything that I would ever do, vice versa. However, everything that you just explained is something that I find very, very close to me,
Yeah.
which is which is odd for my specific lines of work or anything that I would be involved in. Uh, if it were to be of normal routine, uh, what's the word? Speaking, I don't have the words right now. I'm sorry. If somebody were to acknowledge, we'll say once every 2 weeks, hey, you're doing good.
Yeah.
I would find myself probably performing better.
Oh, of course.
Um,
Yeah.
Obviously not the case.
Right.
I don't feel it probably ever is, because that would be ideal. That would be the ideal situation, that your performance goes completely noticed.
Well, I think that a lot of people just have the expectation of, if you're a cook, that the food that you cook is going to be good, because why else would you be a cook if you're not going to cook good food?
Mm-hmm.
So people don't need to tell you that the food you're cooking is good if that's the expectation. Well, it should be good. That's your job. That's what you're doing. You're a chef.
Don't
Why?
don't don't.
Like,
How do you feel saying that?
well, I don't feel. I don't agree with it, because there are some instances where in that situation neither of us are chefs and neither of us do that, but if something that you sat down, you ate a meal and it was fantastic, and you're like, I'm gonna give my compliments to the chef in a very, just this was incredible, I want you to know that you did a fantastic job, I don't see anything being wrong with that. But there's, I guess there's a lot of people out there that would say, well, yeah, I mean, look at where we are. Look at the food I ordered. I paid all this money. It should be good. Why do I have to tell them that it's good job? You're doing good. That's the expectation. It should be good. And although, yeah, sure, that might be the expectation, it doesn't hurt you to just say, good job.
Right.
I enjoyed this. This was a positive experience for me, and I want to let you know that. Good job. You've probably made 1,000 of these before, but I just want to let you know that I thought it was good, and you did a good job. It's easy. It takes fucking 15 seconds to do.
What do you think? Uh, the outcome would be if you were to, not you personally, but the general public would be to acknowledge the positive as much as they acknowledge the negative.
I think that is the first major step in fixing
Wouldn't that be
a
incredible?
lot of the problems in the world.
Wouldn't that be incredible?
Yeah.
I have the privilege at my job of training the new guys.
Right.
I share that privilege with a couple other beings, but uh, I am one of them, and I try to make sure within that training process to acknowledge when a job is well done.
Right.
You know, my job particularly can end up in catastrophic destruction. Literally nothing less. So when my job is done correctly, I think it's well worth acknowledging.
Yeah.
So I feel, I don't know, I don't understand why it would go any less for any other industry. Why wouldn't you want to continuously acknowledge a job well done by somebody that you paid? I don't know.
I think it might just be a mindset thing that not everybody has a similar mindset to, where that is just part of your system. That's how you work. If you think about something, you want to compliment somebody, or you want to say thank you, or you want to be polite, or you want to just acknowledge somebody, you want to give that positive feedback. That's just ingrained inside of me. I don't have to think about it. It's just part of my thought process. It just happens. It's just programmed into me to express this stuff and to do this stuff, like holding a door open for somebody, or complimenting somebody. If I think of a compliment, I'm just gonna say it because I thought of it, and so I might as well say it because that's just who I am.
right,
And so those little things are just, they're so small, but they're so normal to me, to just, if I'm thinking something, I'm feeling something, like, wow, this looks incredible. Like earlier today, I saw somebody had a they made something that I thought looked really good, and so I told them, like, that's really good. There was no, they weren't flaunting it, they weren't showing it off, they weren't looking for feedback, but it was just a thing that I thought about, and so I expressed it, and they were like, thank you so much. It was a lot of hard work, and so, but it's just part of me. I could have chose to not say it, but why the fuck not? I mean,
right.
why? I don't, and I think that a lot of the people who are your bosses or your coworkers, that they just don't, it's just not that, it's not their initial thought. A lot of these people is just, they have more important things to do, more important things to focus on. You're just another number, another person doing another thing, and you you have an expectation to meet, and so meet that expectation. And why do I need to thank you for it if that's what I expect from you? Why do I need to take the time to thank you for it? I'm paying you to do this thing,
Right.
so do it, and I expect you to be good at it.
It's kind of messed up, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, the dynamic is a little sideways. I just don't I don't feel like somebody who's doing a good job of what they do, regardless of how frequently, you know,
Yeah.
you shouldn't be disregarded for that.
Well, no, and that's part of the reason why so many places have such a high turnover rate with employees, is because, this, amongst other things, plays a factor in that. But the people up top that you know, you, you want to hear the stuff from, you want to hear the good job, or like, you're doing well every now and again. Um, in their mind, they're like, well, I don't give a fuck if they quit or get fired or whatever, because I'll just replace them with somebody else. Because you're just numbers for
Just
them.
another number.
You're just another person.
Yep.
You're easily replaceable. So, like, they don't really give a shit
Right.
either way. I mean,
It's fucked up to think about that way, but it's true.
yeah, yeah. Another reason why I so desperately want to fully establish something where I can be my own boss, where I can do something that I love to do, have my own profession, or my own business or something, is because I don't like being told what to do. It's actually I don't have a lot of pet peeves, if that's what you want to call it, but I hate, absolutely hate, when people tell me what to do. I hate it. If you tell me what to do, it doesn't take a lot of effort to just ask. Instead of saying, "Hey, can you sweep the floor, or can you do this thing for me?" You say, "Sweep the floor," or "Do this thing." Fuck you. You can fuck right off with all of that. It, Nobody is higher than anybody else. Nobody can fucking should belittle people like that and be like, "Oh, you're my inferior whatever, so I'm going to fucking tell you to do this thing." I fucking hate when people tell me what to do. And I also hate feeling like I am being controlled, or that I have boundaries. And that goes for work, and it also goes for other things. I don't like feeling that I am restricted in any way from the things that I would like to be doing. So if you're working a normal job and you have these set hours, I hate that I am required to be at this place at this time until this time on these days, and there's nothing I can do about it. That's life. That's what you have to do. Fuck that. I hate that shit. I hate having to be somewhere at a specific time, and if not, well, then I'm fucked. I don't like that. I don't like having those restrictions, and sometimes that plays into other things, like if I set you know diet restrictions on myself, saying that you can't eat this thing, or you can't have this thing, or you can't do this thing. I fucking go crazy setting them for myself, these things, because I'm like, I'm telling myself that I can't do certain things, which is the number one thing that I fucking hate. I hate feeling controlled. And so it's different if you work in an environment where that's not the case. You kind of just show up and you do your thing, and no one really bothers you, and then you can leave, and the hours are pretty ideal, and it doesn't really make that much of an impact on your life. But if it's something that you don't enjoy doing, I mean, that makes it significantly worse, because then you're being forced to go to this place that you fucking hate, and you're around all these people that are fucking just the worst people, and it just sucks. And so I want to do my own thing, because I just I don't I want to be in control of myself. I want to be in control of my life. I don't like other people being in control of how I spend my time.
I feel like I have an interesting perspective for that. Um, I, when it comes to feeling the way that you just described, I feel very strongly when it comes to feeling the same way that you just explained, that rather than just being upset with the situation for an elongated period of time, I would just fix it. And I know that sounds short-sighted, and I I don't know how it sounds to you, but
Yeah.
um, rather than just and this plays into a definite example of why I have had so many jobs, because I have. But if some circumstance comes up that I am not approving of, and it continues to be that way, then I just fix it.
Yeah, no,
I simply just change things.
I'm the exact same way. So I work a full time job, a clock in clock out job, as well as my own company. I do my own thing as well
Right now?
on the side. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, we're gonna have a talk. No, I'm just kidding.
But I'm working towards having this thing for myself full time, and just making sure that that's sustainable over a long period of time. It is sustainable right now to the point where it could be a full time gig of me just working for myself and just running my own business and doing my own thing. But I have to be absolutely sure because I have a family. I have a kid. I have to make sure that this thing is going to be successful. And last year, it was looking very, very successful, like very promising that it was going to just excel. It was just going to keep going up and going up and going up. And then we got fucked where everybody was like, oh shit, I don't have extra money to spend on things that I don't really need. And so my line of work was very difficult to find clients because they were like, "Oh, you need a website." Well, yeah, that's something I need, but I don't have the money for that right now. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to keep my house, or I don't know if I'm going to be able to stay in business, let alone get a fucking website, right? So that whole thing kind of threw me off guard because I never thought that tech would be one of those things that would not be a good job ever. They say, if you work in the medical field or you work in technology or you do blah blah blah, that's pretty much guaranteed. Well, you always need nurses, you always need software engineers, you always need these people. So working these things is something that everybody's gonna need. So you're safe. Well, that was not the case a few months ago, and so I just really need to make sure that everybody gets what they need and that I don't take too big of a chance going all in on this thing quite yet because I just need to be responsible and I need to make sure that this whole thing is going to pan out and that it is well established and that it is going to be a thing. Uh, but anyway, I don't hate my job that I have to be there at these specific hours and and wake up and do this thing. I love the people I work with. I love the job I'm doing. I think it's great, and I love doing all this stuff on my own on the side, and it's great. But this job that I have, this clock in clock out job that I have, is the probably the longest place I have ever consistently worked in my entire life. Most of the places that I work last maybe 6 months because I either just end up fucking hating it and it's miserable and it makes me depressed and I just can't bring myself to ever step foot in these fucking places again. So then I just quit, which is why I've had so many jobs because I'm just like, nah. And I don't even tell them. I just don't show up because I'm like, it's not even worth my fucking time. I can't stand these places so much that I just why be miserable every day when you could find something else. But I was in this routine of like getting a new job. Oh, it's exciting. You're surrounded by a whole new group of people and you're in a new environment and it's exciting and woo. And then as soon as that wears off in about 4 to 6 months, you're like, man, this place fucking sucks. and then then you just leave that one too and move on to the next one, trying to find something that sticks. And so I got lucky that the place I work now isn't a fucking overwhelming amount of hours. It's a good environment. I like the job I'm doing, and I have time to spend with my family and also to do my own work and work on my business and get all that stuff done as well. So it's a very ideal situation because I have this guaranteed income with that job, and then I also have all of the extra stuff that I'm making from this job. So I'm making uh, a good, healthy amount of money
Mm-hmm.
all around, which is great.
Yeah.
And although my own business can convert into full time, uh, I don't know. I'm comfortable. I'm happy. I don't want to make that move and throw a wrench into things when it's unnecessary. Again, I don't hate my job. I don't mind being there. It's not that big of a deal. So, um, and as of this moment, I'm not overwhelmed with clients and projects on my own stuff to where I'm like, man, I wish I had more time for this. It's pretty steady at the moment. So it's easy to balance the two, even though I do get overwhelmed at times, but it's not anything that I can't handle. Would I like to do my own business full time? Sure. But I don't know. I'm okay. I'm just going. I'm just flowing, Just drifted along.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally get it.
I don't feel bad, so I guess that's good.
Yeah, that's a good start.
Yeah.
Well. Oh man. How long have you been at the current job?
For almost 2 years?
2 years? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't speak much. I do the same thing, man. As soon as I start seeing flaws, I'm like, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bounce. I'm not happy here.
Well,
So
it's just when you're at that point where you're like dreading having to wake up the next day to go to fucking work again, that you guys just fucking quit. Just move on. Get something else. It's not worth it, man.
no, at that point, it's not worth working to live and living to work.
It's not. There's so much more important things than that. Even if you have to take a little bit of a pay cut to do something that is gonna bring you more joy
Yeah.
while you're there, fucking do it.
Yes.
It's worth it. You don't want to be fucking miserable all the time because then you're gonna get out of work and you're gonna be like, oh, thank God I have an hour that I can enjoy before I have to go to sleep and wake up and go back to this fuckhole again.
Well, I mean that's basically like my life.
It's horrible.
I work 12-hour days, so
Yeah.
I'm just used to it.
Well, I've had a lot of jobs where I have to get up at like 5:30 and then I start at 6 or 7 and then I work until about 5:30 and then I get home at like 7 and then I don't have that much time to enjoy my time because I have to go to sleep so I can fucking wake up again and
Yep.
go to this place
Yep.
that sucks ass.
Yep.
And at that point you're miserable, man. You're miserable and your weekends don't feel like they're long enough and you just have to spend all this time at a place that you fucking hate and like it's just not worth it. Just find something else.
Well, buddy, on that solid note, I'm gonna end it with I'm doing that shit, and for some reason still doing this shit.
Yeah.
I want to. None of this is forced at all. So,
Just wait. Good things will come.
huh?
This is gonna be huge.
Dude, good things will come. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so not worried about it. I am so excited for the future of this whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so excited for it. I have no problem doing what I'm doing right now.
It's gonna be great.
I am so excited. There are so many big plans. I've told you about my cheesy ideas, and I cannot wait to show them all. So,
And also, for anyone listening who is concerned, the quality is going to be getting a huge
God.
upgrade. It's going to be fantastic. Stick
I've,
around.
I've been saying that for so many episodes, man.
Big changes are coming because
Yes.
I am now full time.
Oh, you better be fucking full time.
I am. I'm full time.
You don't get to make that kind of claim and not be full time.
It's gonna be fucking great. Be excited about it because it's gonna happen.
So, in case anybody was wondering, on episode, I don't know, this will be 31. The quality's gonna get better.
It is. It's gonna get so much better, and we got big plans. So just
Oh, so many big plans.
be excited and let us know what you guys think about all the changes.
Dude, I can't fucking wait to start getting emails.
It's gonna be huge. Yeah, fucking email us. Come on, we're waiting for emails.
Somebody fucking needs to say something.
We want to answer questions. We want to write down feedback. We want.
I've been begging, and this feels like a very one-sided relationship, okay? So I need somebody to say something.
Yeah, criticize us. Tell us that it's fucking dog shit or that it's actually going well, and compliment us on our improvements.
This thing literally is reaching around the world.
Which is crazy. And
I have
still,
statistics to prove that we're in Europe.
yeah, and so that means that in every other country, we're still not getting fucking emails. So
You guys are great.
I know that I know that email is not real hot and that people don't really email much, but you know, leave a comment, send something,
Dude.
Give us a thumbs up
So
or a thumbs down.
by the
You know.
time this is broadcasted, and by the time you're listening to this, it could be on fucking YouTube, Spotify, Facebook, the Spreaker playlist. Any one of them you can subscribe to and comment to. So please do any one of those, positive or negative. Do it all.
Yeah, and if you want us to be in more places, let us know.
And
We'll go wherever you want.
And also, I think in the episode that you heard before this, I expressed quite a bit of want for you to express who you want to talk to.
Yeah, it's very
I
important.
am so super excited for the input because I want to know which one of my guests do you want to talk to the most. If you want to talk to Jason, if you want to talk to Sheldon, if you want to talk to Jaden, if you want to talk to Zach, please.
Devlin, he's a fun one.
Devlin will light your world up.
If you guys didn't know, Devlin Jessup is my best friend in real life. So I don't know.
That's
if
the connection.
I don't know if that's been mentioned.
No, it hasn't. But
But-
that's the connection.
He's full 100% honest. Honestly, he's my best friend in real life.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I know that he's a bit of a character, but he's fucking awesome.
Or
I love
if
that
you
guy.
want to make it arranged that you hear the Tight Pants song in person, then please email me. I'll get you in touch with Dirty D.
Yeah, we love you guys. Just reach out to us. You know, we want to do more for you. If you guys have any ideas, suggestions, things you want to see, things that we can improve on, anything, please just let us know. If you just want to say hi, that's cool too. If you want to say that you love us, we would love you too.
And to the end of the episode, we love you.
Yes. Love you guys so much.
Good night.